Doin, Zeus.
How we doing? How we doing? How's he doing? How's he doing?
You're gonna have to get a better voice if you're gonna sing every time we intro this thing.
Okay, I'll get lessons.
Hello, how are we? How are we doing?
How we doing?
2019 debrief. We're actually rewatching some of the footage, so if you see us staring at the TV, we're playing Event 1, Men's Heat 3.
Should be the best
Top
of the
50
best.
males. Yeah, no doubt.
We're watching Street Horner get cut. Paul Castillo get cut. What's the other guy's name? Tim Paulson get cut.
Yeah, that was wild, man.
And then Zachary Bunton, or whatever, I don't know how to say his last name. He trains at T-Town with Brooke. I was surprised that he got cut. Those are really only the surprise.
In the first workout?
Yeah, at least for the
Hunter
men.
made it through. He was pretty elated, I hear.
Yeah. Hunter, he
Here.
did well. I mean, we said, or I guess I said, but I feel like we agree, if he just made it past a cut. I mean, this was a true CrossFit workout.
Yep.
A real good test.
We found out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, it was
I
a
thought
great
it was
workout.
a good workout. The legless row climb made it an interesting movement to see how people adapted to that.
It was also
Squat snatch, 185, not a heavy lift. Okay, do it.
Yeah, it was cool that it was the main site workout. I really loved that.
I thought it was funny. Pat Vellner in his On the Porch interview with Rory McKernan was talking about the programming and how he didn't really think that the 185 snatch was very heavy, and we're about to see him fail it 2 or 3 times during the workout.
Oh, Patty Cheeks failed?
I mean, he's in the background of Matt getting no
Failing?
rep.
So, yeah. Yo, what I want to know is, did Fraser win the Open? Why doesn't somebody have the leader's jersey on right now at the very beginning?
Because I don't.
He's the number one
everybody's on
LLC.
even playing field, dog.
That's true.
I thought this workout was dope, though. I was glad they started this way.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I think overall, starting in, let's just go ahead and give our rating. We're gonna rate the games, the 2019 games, everything included, all aspects.
Oh, dude, I think I just saw your rating in the notes. I'm surprised.
Well, that's just where I stand. I might change it.
Oh,
I might change it.
Okay.
We're gonna make Ricky go first.
Okay, Rick, you're going first. Overall rating of
Microphone
the games.
to the mouth.
Yeah, let's hear it. If you want to give a Y, go ahead. If not, we can move on.
Short, 2 sentences.
All right. Well, I'm gonna give it.
We got Rick a mic, by
And
the way.
this-
I don't know if you noticed. We got him a mic.
This was easy. First number I came to was a 6.7.
Ooh.
And here's why that 7 mark or 7.5 mark would say that I'm very. Would be a very average. That 7.5 would be a very average, like.
Well, it is. It is average.
well-
It's a C.
Right. You're
Good
right.
lead in because I gave it a 6.8.
Okay. So
Yeah.
we were close.
Yeah.
I gave it a 6.7
Yeah.
just because
Wasn't my favorite.
there were things that underperformed my expectations.
Wow, and I'm high. I would probably give it like an 8.3.
Ooh.
I thought it was entertaining. I thought it was cool that important athletes or more fit athletes got cut. Not,
I like the
people
drama.
I like the
guess
drama.
That boosted it in my eyes.
That was a factor for me.
I just thought there was a lot of things that went wrong. I mean, equipment failures that athletes were giving, the penalties that were assessed to certain athletes. I didn't think
Equipment failures.
Well, that was part of the problem with the ruck, right? Was the bag and it compromising and
I got you.
judging
Yeah, I think that's a
errors,
fair
people
point.
turning in bags that might not have been theirs, that sort of deal. So
Yeah, fair point.
6.8.
6.8. Wow.
8.3.
Yeah, I really liked it. I think that's high.
What a loser.
Dude, I thought the programming was good. I thought it was
I liked
entertaining.
the sequence. I didn't have a problem with the sequence. There were some people talking about how they didn't like to have to run so much. Well, you suggested you saw an interview with Hepner it followed the CrossFit pyramid.
Yeah,
Well,
I
that's
actually.
what's-
So then after that, I'd done a little bit more research, and I don't think it was Hepner's original thought, which is fine. I think he maybe just agreed with somebody else, but. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was entertaining. I
thought it
still
was
think
really
the
cool.
3 fittest people won.
Yep.
I think that we found the most 3 fit.
I said I'd take a firm enough stance to even say I don't think the podiums much would have changed. Had the
I don't
cuts
think at all.
happened on the
Well,
individual side.
I honestly
Teams.
think.
No doubt, but
Yeah. I honestly think Brooke, if she wouldn't have got eliminated, I really feel like
Sure.
some of the other events would have been good for her.
yeah.
I mean, someone could also say the same thing for Pat Vellner. They basically got eliminated due to a penalty.
Well, I think the athletes are upset because they're used to the games being a week-long test, and it's a different competition now.
Totally.
This cut style, this inevitability of that over the course of the weekend, most people aren't going to be competing on the day that's going to crown the champion. But that's just how most sports work. I mean, that's how playoffs work. That's how fitness works. So it's going to make for a better season in 2020. 2019 opens in October. Get fucking ready.
Yeah.
So I just think it's going to be electric, being able to track more athletes and see performances. And, we've got some goals in terms of watching some of that stuff. So that's going to be awesome. That's what I saw. It set up an awesome 2020.
Yeah, I guess part of my factor into my rating of the games is also the new format. I really like it. I like the idea of inviting more people and cutting it down. I think as long as, and I think my point in the last show was that I thought that the first workout of the weekend, which typically is either a longer run or swim, I thought it should change with the format, and it did. Just a typical CrossFit workout, a triplet. I really liked it. I like the sanctionals format because, like you said, it gives athletes more opportunities to compete. So that was also a part of a factor in my rating was just I'm a fan of the overall general new format of the season. Totally. And like you said, now you have athletes powwowing with their coaches, figuring out, all right, already the games haven't even been over for a week, and we hear of athletes talking about, okay, what sanctionals should I go to? There's even individual athletes that are going to do it with a team now.
Right. The team competition is going to be
dope. I mean, we have friends that are individual athletes that want to at least do one sanctional on a team.
Yeah.
And so, what does that mean? What does that mean next year, you think?
Well, Rich's team is going to be threatened because he's going to have to find a new guy. I don't think Dre's going to be there for him.
Yeah, I think they could be threatened potentially, but I think one thing that really kind of changed my opinion, because in some of the sanctionals, I mean, Mayhem didn't look great, right? So I think my impression was that someone was going to be able to push Mayhem for that number one spot. Probably Krypton. They ended up getting second, obviously, but I think that team training environment where they're training with each other all the time, I think for a team to dethrone them, I mean, you made a good point. They have to replace some athletes, or at least one, maybe two. Mm-hmm. China might not be back on the team, but are we going to see teams trying to still form a super team, but still, train together on a more consistent basis?
Yeah, and do you think there was like a few people that were commenting like really proud to see a true affiliate cup champion because Mayhem
he recruited Tasia then, didn't he? And China.
I mean, for the most part.
Yeah.
Everyone was recruited there.
Well,
so.
Right. Yeah.
Pretty
Anyway,
interesting. Then I thought it was. Well,
I want to put it back on you guys. So I thought, I get my a B. Okay, so number one thing, what would you have liked to seen differently? I guess
a deeper competition with 20 athletes.
Okay, I agree with that.
Maybe even one more event on Sunday. I would have been okay if even just one more advancing 20 athletes, one more workout. Letting all the athletes do the pegboard.
Honestly, that's basically what kept me from giving it a 9+.
The pegboard, double under, dumbbell snatch, dumbbell clean and jerk, or dumbbell split snatch, sorry. I mean, why? I don't understand what the advantage of not having 20. So that was one major thing for me, mainly because then Brooke, Pat, a couple athletes that I enjoy watching and I think are really deserving of a spot in the top 20, if not the top 10, could have fought their way back and then made the cut to get to the lifting event. The lifting event was dope. It was electric. Watching those.
Oh, totally.
I wasn't as impressed with the females because it was cool to see a couple women lift that heavyweight, but I thought it was a little light in terms of the athletes that I thought could have performed well there. But
so what you're saying, you would have liked to see more females hit the heavier bars. Yeah. Yeah. For sure. I mean, that event was so cool because you had, really it was what was it, Matt and Scott at the end?
Yep.
Trying to lift that same bar, and that you're totally right.
I think Pat fails a rep right here.
Oh.
It wasn't heavy, was it, Pat? And
well,
he's gonna fail. I swear. I know. I saw.
Chandler Smith, one of my guys on my Mount Rushmore. He did pretty good.
Didn't make it to the top 10.
He was in the top 20 though.
Yeah.
Was he top 20?
Pretty sure.
Yeah, sure was. 15. Good for him, man. That was good for him.
That was cool.
Good for Saxon Panchek. Ricky, what about you? Do you just mainly agree with Brian?
Yeah. Why? My big thing was why cut after a sprint workout? It was so single faceted.
Single modality, monostructural again. There were 3 workouts within 5 that were running. Not that I don't think that that's a good test of fitness. I think it's a fair test of fitness. And certain athletes that didn't make the cut didn't perform well in those tests. That's obvious. That's okay.
It was the most specific test of the weekend, arguably. It was like the most sporty, like specific, like sprint, agility.
There you go.
Yeah,
Falling on his
sure
ass.
did. No, I wholeheartedly agree with you, Rick. I thought that was the only cut timing that was absolutely terrible. I thought it was.
I
Really
love the cuts. Other than that, I thought they were electric.
So maybe my 8.3 is a
Hunter,
bit high.
Hunter
Maybe it
made
should
it
be
past the
7.
first event. Was cool. He got cut after the second event, but not because he couldn't perform the tasks. I thought his attitude afterwards. He did an interview with Rory.
I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Totally.
He's leaving his sport. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what this new format could do. It could draw athletes from other sports that are like, well, if I can make it past 3 running workouts, if I can show up and hang with these guys with a slightly heavy barbell and maybe a few gymnastic skills, I can.
Financially, it also, I mean, let's just call it what it is. Financially, it makes a lot of sense for him, too. I mean, CrossFit's bigger market-wise than OCR. He's got a personality.
Totally.
Some of these guys, even that are good, don't have personality. Hunter's funny. He likes to talk a little shit. I
think
he'll do.
Glassman in an interview even said that his mouth is what got him there.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah, totally. Speaking of Glassman, he also said in an interview that it will no longer be the Reebok CrossFit Games after 2020.
No flagship sponsor.
Well, I think, he's going to want it shorter term, open it. I mean, it's totally in mind with his libertarian mindset. Open up the market, let some other sponsors get in there. It'll be good for those dollars and cents.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, so ratings good.
Froning. Everybody wants Froning to come back to the individual side.
Yeah.
So I guess the question we'll throw out: what's it going to take? How many
okay.
million? How many million? I'm going to say 2.5.
2.5 million. See,
who's it going to come from? Is Reebok going to pay him? Let's say Reebok offered. Well, now
but it's going to have to be they want it to be this year because they want the 4v4. They want Fraser versus Froning with the 4.
Oh wow.
Who's going to be the first to get the 5? I mean, the only reason that makes me think that Reebok isn't going to offer them that much money is they're like on their way out, basically, from being the title sponsor. But obviously, Rich is a huge guy for them. I mean, he's probably already paid him. He's already made over $2.5 million. I think it's got to be higher because I think if Rich is afraid of losing, I think he's afraid of losing to Matt. So I think it's got to be like
fire him up.
10 million.
I love it.
I think it's got to be 10. I really do. I think he's scared. I really think he's scared.
Look, did something happen to Street? Look, he's coming in looking pretty strong.
Street, yeah, well, Street underrated metabolic conditioning in the 2019 season, that's for sure.
He didn't make it past the first cut, right?
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. He underrated metabolic conditioning.
Well, I mean, he's not doing terrible in this workout. It doesn't seem like
he must just fall off the absolute wagon. Oh, he starts failing rope climbs. That's what it is.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do they show it?
I actually did not see the event live.
Dude, look how they have all those ropes hung. There's a third rope like hanging outside the rig too. Do you see that?
Yeah.
That's wild. Well, Rick, do you think Rich will ever come back? You like him?
I do like him, and I think it's just gonna have to be
SSD.
what it's worth to the sport. I mean, people aren't gonna pay him if it's not worth anything to the sport, which it will be though, is the question. But how much is he worth to come back?
Well, did you? I heard in one of those Buttery Bros videos I was watching, he didn't get paid for the Froning documentary.
Yeah,
CrossFit
that's
didn't pay
crazy.
him for that.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, allegedly.
They said.
I'm just saying that's what he says. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just playing devil's advocate. Like that's what he says. Yeah, I'm not suggesting.
But what they don't tell you is that it was like publicity. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or
For
like
him.
like.
Sure.
That was
I don't
big
know.
for him. A lot of people saw him
Yeah.
as a god after that.
Was it in a sponsorship deal that he signed that he would do a documentary film for no additional fee?
I think what he suggested is like when you sign the waiver to do the open and compete at the events, in the waiver somewhere you're agreeing to do some
Yeah.
some
yeah.
promotional
yeah,
stuff.
Yeah,
Right.
fair enough.
But according to him, he wasn't under the impression
That
that
it
that
was-
was ever going to turn into a full-fledged documentary.
Right,
I
he
see
thought it
what
was
you're
gonna be
saying.
Like a 15-minute
He
YouTube
thought
video.
I see
he
what
thought
you're
it
saying.
might have to be some stuff.
They're just following me around because I'm
right.
the guy.
Right, and then they're
Got
like,
it.
well, we got all this good content, and Netflix is offering us all this money.
Got
We're
it.
gonna make a documentary, and we're gonna make money on it.
Totally. But that's I mean,
It's
with
fair.
these,
yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at them. I
Yeah.
just was kind of surprised to hear that.
Well, but Rick made a valid point too. It's like it's he didn't have a videographer to put together this film on him. It definitely helped his audience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. So basically, long story short, I don't think we'll see them compete against each other. I would love to. I would love to. I'd probably pay for pay-per-view money to watch them do a competition. If you put a paywall up for it.
Pay-per-view, Rick. Pay-per-view.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see it, but I don't think we're going to see it.
It'd be.
Not
I
in
mean,
2020.
Well, I think our next topical, we've got the theme. We're gonna drop it after this episode. I think we'll come back in 2020, 2019 with some better themes. But the Mount Rushmore, most underrated things of the 2019 games.
I don't see Mount Rushmore going anywhere, but fair enough.
Well,
we'll maybe have some
We'll come up with some.
versatility. All right, who's going first on this one?
We made Ricky. Oh no, it started with you last time, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I actually think I get the first pick.
And we'll go Tyler, Rick this
Brian?
way, and
Sure.
then back that way. All right.
Okay, that's just because Brian wants 2 picks in a row.
Yeah.
All right, fine, make me do it. The most underrated, my number one most underrated thing was the toes to ring movement.
Wow. Really?
Well, so yeah, I guess because I had a really negative impression. Like whenever I saw that it was in a workout, I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Toes to
And you
rings.
saw him do it.
It didn't go as badly as I
Yeah.
thought it was. I thought we were going to see athletes like just swinging all over the place. Although we did see Carrie Pierce just take an absolute belly flop.
I bet your thumbs weren't wrapped around the rings. Use your thumbs, people.
But no, it went better than the handstand push-ups. So yeah, therefore my number one most underrated things of the games this year were toes to rings.
All right. Lame. I think that's lame.
What?
Number one pick. You're picking that. All right. Go ahead, Rick.
I'm gonna go with a weird perspective on the cuts. I'm gonna go with they were underrated. They were underrated for what they did, but people kind of like overrated them because they were too soon.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying.
Yeah.
The stance I'm trying to take
Yeah.
on it?
I got
I
you.
think the cuts were very underrated because they were too soon,
Yeah.
and that's my perspective on that.
Wow.
Because they had such because
A
of the
negative,
timing, they were
right.
such a
Look at it.
negative. Yeah, I like that.
Right.
Yeah.
The thought corner over there.
Thought corner.
I mean, to me, I think I don't know. I might be doubling down. And Dave, I love you, man. Number one on my Mount Rushmore, Dave Castro was back in action.
Be better.
Trolling
Show
athletes.
up better.
Hey, the workout will be announced at a later date. Like, I just loved it, dude. He didn't give anybody what they weren't looking for. I thought the events went great. I thought I gave it a low score because I'm hoping for better. I want to see a better field next year. I'm interested in seeing higher caliber teams, a better competition on the team side. I was a little let down that Krypton couldn't pull through on a few more events. I think they might have a few additions that they could add. And then my second one is going to be Rogue in general. We were watching some of their advertisements. I think they do
Cody Moody underrated too. Wow.
And I think they might be a front runner for one of the chief sponsors after Reebok leaves, because they're doing so much from the invitational, from the media coverage. They were, over the course of the weekend, Morning Chalk Up just kept losing viewers to them. And on Sunday, I think less than 7,000 people were watching Morning Chalk Up. But man, Rogue overall, I thought did a really good job this year at the games.
Yeah, I think people just got tired
shout
of
out.
listening to Tommy Marquez be salty over being fired.
Yeah, it's a business, man. I don't know a lot of that, so I'd reserve it until I knew more about why that happened. But I agree with you. I don't
could
really
be
want to hear
there.
people complain.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying maybe that's why people don't want to listen to him anymore.
So back to me, right?
Yep.
Yeah, back to you.
So this is kind of coming off that, but
Come.
like just generally what's underrated is CrossFit changing in their media perspective because it's opening up a lot of new avenues to different thoughts and
Yeah,
opinions.
that was one of my media formats.
So so like even though you said Rogue, which Rogue was easily the best in my opinion, like even things like Morning Chalk Up can come in and CrossFit.
What was the other one, Ty?
The barbell spin.
Yeah, and there was a couple others on there too that
Really?
had like
That had feeds?
1.5. Yeah.
Oh.
Had how many?
I can't quote their names. I saw 2 others.
With how many viewers?
About $1,000.
Watching the team sprint event go. Just
look
go.
at her. She tracks down China. Is this the one?
Yeah.
Oh, see you, China. Here comes the cheetah.
She pretty much does it in every one.
Yeah, but this is the one where you really see her close the gap.
Wow.
Holy shit. Way to go, Jess. And it's even the turns. I mean, she was behind on the turns. Chop, chop. Yeah, so Brian,
Watch Alex Smith.
what do you think that means then? Well, because I agree. I think Rogue would be one of the Chiefs sponsors that would make the most sense. What would that mean for the Rogue Invitational? Or they would just host 2 big events. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because I know at one point there was just some talk potentially after the Rogue Invitational that like Rogue's gonna be, host the games and blah blah blah. I just think there's too much money involved for them to combine those 2 events together. I think they definitely, if they become a chief sponsor, they should keep them separate.
Well, I think eventually, what these sanctionals are going to do is they're going to shake out like a golf tournament. Like they're going to shake out so that you're going to have the U.S. Open. You're going to have the Dubai Fitness Classic that everybody's and CrossFit's going to put a little bit more effort into supporting those events and keeping those events running.
Or Live and Loud's going to buy the fucking CrossFit games too.
Yeah, hot take.
Live and Loud. I mean, they bought it. They bought Dubai. They bought Wadapalooza.
I mean, this might take us on a little bit of a tangent, but we can all agree that that's a little weird that company with the people that own it and they represent athletes is going to be running the competition.
I mean, totally.
I think the athletes need a union. You've said that. You were the first person I ever heard say it. I was like, well, I never thought that. But.
Well, for sure. Whether it comes to agreeing to the formats or rules, penalties. I mean, what brought it to my forefront this time was the penalty percentage on the sprint versus the penalty percentage on a ruck run, just very different. So, like, at the very least, athlete representation through the form of a union could do that. It could also get health care for athletes after the games if they're, like, injured at the games because of an event. I'm pretty sure, like, you get on-site treatment, but, like, once you're done at the games, I'm pretty sure that you don't get any type of medical insurance or anything through the CrossFit games. So definitely an athletes union would be in store.
All right, Ty, back to you.
Back to me. So this is really just because I underrated this person in my own head, Tia Toomey. I thought she probably was going to win, but I thought the point margin, I thought it was going to be close. I think I remember her saying that I thought that the point margin was going to be very small on the women's side, and she absolutely dominated.
And quite flip-flopped. Matt only won by like 34
Totally.
points.
And then I think, that's worth at least a thought or a discussion, like, did the new format create that parity or lack thereof? Because in the last 3 years, we've seen Matt win by an average of a 200-point margin just about. And
I think the penalty created that disparity, right? I mean, Matt getting penalized.
Well, that's true. I mean, the penalty bumped him down from like 4th to 17th.
Yeah.
But at the time, the points, it wasn't that big of a deal. He was able to fight back, but it did make a huge effect on where he was overall. You could argue momentum for him, but I mean, Tia just dominated from.
Yeah, but had he been assessed a penalty like that on a later workout in the weekend, it would have made a drastically greater difference.
That's true.
Points.
That's true. Like I mean, Brooks' penalty was just awful timing. Brooke and Pat Vellner, like when they got that penalty, not only was the penalty very large, but it was just terrible timing because then they got cut after the next event. I think with both of them, if let's say the cuts then are after the day and both of them still are assessed a penalty, then they're bumped down to their respective positions on the leaderboard. I think we can probably agree in those next 2 events, those 2 are going to do pretty well, and they have time to recover.
Right.
So yeah, the format definitely came into, and the penalty and the percentage. I mean, Matt was penalized on like a 4% basis, where Pat and Brooke were penalized on a 30% basis. So that also needs discussion as well. All right, then do I have to pick again?
Yeah, this is your third.
My third. Oh, damn it. Unfortunately, I paired two of my things together.
Ha.
I would say, I guess I kind of already made a joke about it, but the bigger named athletes that got cut on the first workout, they underrated metabolic capacity for the whole season. They clearly were not conditioned to
Do
just
CrossFit.
pass a pretty basic test, running, some legless rope climbs, and a moderately heavy barbell. So
This is the final of the team relay. We're just mesmerized.
Just mesmerized.
Camille just giving Jess such an opportunity here to shine.
Camille,
Like in dead last. Dude.
Camille pulling the piano, giving Jess an opportunity
In
to show off
absolute
the
dead
boosters.
last, yeah.
Her turns are pretty good though. It's
Come
because
on,
she isn't
Sunny
going
Ray.
very fast.
And she's at like 1,000 steps.
Go
per
Sunny
foot.
Ray. Let's go Sunny Ray.
Cammy, we love you. I mean, this is unbelievable that Jess makes this happen here.
She freaking flies.
She
dude.
does.
Watch,
I mean, yep. Here she comes.
like a cannon.
Was that Taylor Wilkinson? Did she mess up this lead that she's got?
Yeah. Jess's turns were tight too. She caught China on the turns, and then look, Alex just gonna embarrass Rich. Poor girl from OC3 didn't stand a chance. Or no, that was Alioth that sent out their two guys or whatever.
Yeah, first two guys, and the commentators were blowing them as the event's going on, and they didn't even win.
I think Rich got passed by everybody there.
Yeah,
What
he
place
did.
did Mayhem get in this sprint?
Not very good. But Rich also stepped on the line and did not get assessed a penalty. Should we talk about that?
It was different briefs for different athletes.
I
or
don't
different
buy
rules.
that.
Well, you don't.
Well, I guess I buy.
Okay.
Okay, I buy that as the explanation. I don't think it's sufficient. Like, I don't understand why the rules would be different for the teams in the. Although you did
they're-
offer a good explanation.
What did you think? Which one?
Where you said that maybe there was a chance that for the teams, if they hadn't thought to penalize them for stepping on the yellow line, well, then why is the line yellow anyway? If they hadn't thought that there would be a penalty,
Because there's other
for
white
the teams?
lines. They wanted to make sure that all the athletes knew which, because it's like I said, it's 2 lanes for 1 lane.
So then, what? Too many team athletes stepped on the yellow line. So then Dave determined that there'd be a penalty for the individuals if they stepped on the yellow line. That's the.
Well, and Rich even suggested that the teams, because where he stepped over the line was after he had passed through the 2 dummies at the end.
That's also where Brooke did.
That's not true. She was rounding the last dummy when
No.
she stepped on the line.
No, it was when she was going through. Her judge even said it was at like through to the finish line. According to this that I read from the games, because they elaborate a little bit on the penalties, they said that it was okay to step on at the dummies, but not through to the finish.
Yeah, I mean,
Prior to each event, all athletes were briefed on penalties. In sprint, athletes were informed of the lane infraction penalty, which states if an athlete steps on the yellow line after clearing the final gate before the finish, a 10-second penalty is assessed.
so it does say it, that's what they would, the
Yeah,
athletes
if you're
did it.
stepped on the line after the gate. That Rich also stepped on the line after the gate.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm just.
I don't care to really, I mean, they penalized the athletes the way they did it.
Yeah.
They didn't, there's nothing that you can change
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, Rich's point was 10 points doesn't matter.
Speaking of Rich, my third one is Mayhem Freedom winning by a almost 300-point margin with the best field in
Yeah.
probably team history.
Good point.
It's only the second year they've only had 4 teams, right? Or is it the third year?
4-person teams?
Yeah.
Second.
Second year they've had
Second
4-person
year.
teams. Yeah.
Because they lost the last year of 6-person teams, right?
Yes,
to
CrossFit Wasatch.
yeah, Wasatch
Yeah.
with Adrian Conway.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
impressive. That was a fun year to watch. too,
Yeah.
though.
I want him to come back and beat Rich.
I agree.
I mean, I'm more interested. There's going to be a few individuals that I'll pay attention to and want to know what sanctionals they're going to, but the team competition next year is going to be electric.
Yeah, I mean, basically, if you're outside of the top 5 in the individual field of athletes, you should strongly consider
Not
forming a
showing up?
team. No, forming a team.
Yeah, true. Underrated. Well, that's what I just actually that was one of mine. Team comp, the underrated team comp in the future, I think was an underrated aspect of this year's games because of how well Mayhem did, how well Krypton was able to do with kind of a throw together team. I mean, 2 dudes live in New York, one girl lives out in the middle of nowhere in Colorado, one girl in the middle of nowhere in Missouri, are able to show up and take second place over a group of people that train every day. I think you're going to get a lot more athletes that are of a caliber such as Cody, Alec, Jess, and Camille that are able to get together and, maybe squeeze out an event win instead of letting Mayhem pass you at the finish with the slug or the snail, whatever that was. So I think the team competition in the future was an underrated part of what we saw out of this year's games. And then Rob Orlando, Morning Chalk Up, shout out. Great commentator.
It's a shame. It's just enough people didn't hear him.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, he was like, when it comes to like play-by-play stuff, I kept commenting on the stream. I was like, Rob, speak up.
Well, just too soft.
I mean, no, I just hated the other dude. The other dude took like a real announcer's voice, and Rob was like very calm, deliberate, delivered the information. And I was like, Rob, you just need to keep.
I think he'd done some regionals in the past for CrossFit Media, and I really enjoyed him. Yeah, he's good.
That's why I don't have sympathy for, CrossFit made its decision to do what it did at a company-wide level. Some guys decided to keep going. Buttery Bros are doing well.
Oh yeah, and if anything, these people are going to realize they're going to be better off running their own businesses and doing their own show.
Right, Rick.
Totally. Your last one. Yeah, we're doing 4.
We're doing 4.
Oh, we're doing 4.
Surprise.
Cool. On the spot. Underrated, and this is going to go as a whole since it's my last one, but change. I think change is very underrated for anything. Like, when you have something
Rick.
that changes
like that
and people
philosophy
respond to it in a positive way. I mean, Matt's been the champion for the past 3 years. Change happened, and he still showed up.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
True, but
so that shows everyone else that, hey, like, it changed. I showed up. You better too. And Tia did the same thing, I guess, too. And a lot of other athletes did, and some athletes fell behind.
Totally.
And so now they got to respond. So next year is going to be real interesting to watch.
I agree. I'm more excited for 2020 than I ever have.
Yeah, and to totally piggyback off that, because it's my last one. And when I say the new format, I don't mean just the games, the sanctionals, all those things. I think that was underrated because at first it had a very negative, like when you took away regionals, like people freaked out and were like, how could you do this? Like, this new format is awesome. It's good for the athletes. They're going to make more money, lots of opportunities.
Sport's going to thrive.
Sport's going to thrive.
More athletes. David Goggins even said he's going to do the games next year.
Wait, what?
Totally made that up.
It's like, holy shit, I missed that.
We're putting together a team. Yeah,
totally.
From Howie doing in the future, the Open's gonna happen. I don't know how much interest I have in the Open, to be honest. I don't think a whole lot of athletes are gonna be geared up, ready to try and compete there.
Well,
and we don't even know what the qualification process is for sure.
Well, the only reason I think that athletes will make this a priority is it's a way that a lot of these sanctionals are inviting people now.
Sure, fair enough.
So I think you're right. It is kind of a tight turnaround, but whatever.
First sanctional Filthy 50 in Sweden. Is that where that is?
I think it's in Ireland. One of those lands.
Third week of November 20th.
It's like right before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that actually, dude. What if somebody should do one on Thanksgiving? It'd be like the Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl of fitness.
The Super Bowl is.
I think our first opportunity to really do a real commentator show is.
We're going to Dubai, people.
Yeah.
We're going to the Middle East. They don't like us there. We're gonna go.
Oh, Ty, you are funny. That's the
kidding. No, we're just gonna do it from the comfort of our American home.
11, yeah. Then Mayhem Classic. Is that going to be a qualifier?
Yes. Yeah, it's a sanctional.
SID? What's that?
SID. It's a STD. SIDS.
Really?
Strength and depth.
Oh, okay.
It's in London.
Okay.
It's in London. Maybe that's what we could go to London.
Not a bad call.
It's in January, though. It's really cold in London in January.
February.
We're going to try to go to Wadapalooza.
That'll be a big one for us.
Yeah. So Rick, you want to go to Wadapalooza? On the house? How are we doing media? On the house?
Charge it to the
We'll charge it to the business. Put it on my tab.
March and April will be pretty crazy. March and April have Australian.
Yeah, really.
West Coast, Atlas Games, Mid Atlantic.
And these
And
aren't
those
even
are
all
all
of them.
of them,
These
yeah.
are just the ones that I picked out that I thought one either new big name athletes went to last year. Some of these Canadian ones, the Atlas Games is a Canadian one. I'm assuming Brent Fikowski, Pat Vellner might be there.
Do you think any of these sanctionals will adopt the games format and cut athletes?
Totally. Maybe not, because there's not enough events. I mean, typically in these sanctionals, you just see Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see what sanctionals release, what their prize purses are, because that's where all these big athletes are gonna go.
And again, we've discussed this almost at length about these sanctionals they've got to get Pat, Brooke,
To get the return on
Katrin.
investment, they get that ROI.
Yeah. I mean, because what we do know is CrossFit makes them pay a pretty penny. And it already costs a lot of money to host a
Dubai
a
fucked that
regional.
up for everybody by paying out the ass.
Well, yeah, they probably really set the market price.
Yeah.
Because they were the first one.
That oil money.
That oil money. Trying to get that oil. No one's talking about oil. Anyway, yeah, we'll have some stuff in the works. I'd imagine at least during the Open, we'll at least do some sort of like weekly thing now.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe
got to get reps.
Maybe that's where we print off a leader's jersey and we do a open competition amongst ourselves and we get whoever in.
Yeah, we got to get creative with it. We got to get creative for sure.
All right, stay tuned.
Yeah, hopefully maybe going to unveil some sort of sanctional experience of our own.
Yeah, nah, we'll see. I'd love to.
We're gonna do it.
Tease him, Ty. Tickle the clit.